What's up, sports fans? This is your host Igor for Boys Couch and Rugby Ball, and we are going to chat about Ireland's prospects for the World Cup today. And in studio we have O'Criscoll. We've still got Henny Kulisi. His name hasn't changed since the last special we did. And we have our trusty waterboy, Christoph Barend, in the studio today. So guys, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's almost 24 hours. I understand our five-a-side soccer team absolutely obliterated the opposition tonight. Chris, did you get some goal action today?
Well, Igor, I'm the five-a-sides team defender, so
only two.
So I brought out my inner Van Dijk and only conceded 6 goals, and we scored 8.
But how many dribbles did I get past you?
Not more than 4 this time. But I have a presence, so yeah. And
Barend, how was your five-a-side? Did you dominate the midfield as usual?
No, I usually am too unfit for that. So I just walk around. I'm basically a prop playing soccer. But I got one lucky toe poke in. So my toe's blue now. My toenail's blue, but it was a goal nonetheless. So I'm chuffed with tonight's performance.
Awesome. It's glad to hear. And Henny, I saw you break a sweat just lighting your cigarette, and I think that sums up the state of your fitness.
Oh, well, yes, Igor. The only five-a-side I get is after a long night out Saturday nights. So, yes, you guys keep on playing soccer, and I'll just keep on scoring.
And while we're on the topic of scoring, Ireland aren't really a big scoring team. They're a team that tactically play very safe rugby. They're not going to run teams right, really. So tactically, I know we've discussed it before. Maybe Ireland struggled there. They had a bit of a speed wobble a while ago, and then they beat Wales back to back just before the World Cup. And Henny, how do you see their tactics playing out in the World Cup? Do you think it's going to be favourable for knockout rugby?
Yes, Igor. I actually think Ireland have the blueprint to be successful in big tournaments. I think they've got a very good forward pack. Unlike Australia, I do think they've got a very, very solid foundation in their forwards. They're very good at set piece, and they play very safe, and they play these percentages very well. They don't take a lot of risks. They play a lot of phases, keep it tight, and basically rely on building phases, getting penalties, using their 9 and 10 a lot. They have a very good kicking game. And yes, I think their style of rugby is really built for knockout World Cup rugby. It's playing the percentages, making not a lot of mistakes. So yes, I do think Ireland has a chance in this World Cup. I would say that the big difference for me between the Ireland side now and the Ireland side from 4 years ago is I do think that they loose forwards, and especially a couple of their props are world class players in my eyes, and a lot of them are also British and Irish Lions players. So yes, a lot of experience, and they play in a system that suits them well. So yes, I have high expectations for Ireland.
And then, Chris, let's just quickly go through. Obviously, Henny said it now. Ireland have a good pack of forwards, but how do you see the backline comparing to other of the world's best teams? I think a concern for me is that they, among the bench, if you look at a team like New Zealand, there's always going to be quality on the bench, especially in key positions in the back row. I mean, you've got TJ Perenara on the bench. You're going to have maybe a Barrett on the bench, maybe someone like Sonny Bill William or Anton Leonard-Brown on the bench. All of them pretty good impact players. But the bench of Ireland, especially the along the backs. Someone, if you think about someone like, because so you've got Joey Carberry and Jack Carty being the replacements for fly half, and then at scrum half you've got Luke McGrath, and then on the wings Andrew Conway, Jordan Leemore, which they don't have a lot of test experience, although Joey Carberry might be pretty good, but he hasn't rocked up a lot of caps for Ireland. Do you think that's going to be an issue in this World Cup for them?
Well, Igor, okay, if you look at the backline as a whole, they've got definitely their strengths and their weaknesses. If you look at the 9 and 10, absolute world-class tactical experienced players. I think that's going to be a massive strength for them, especially playing behind their pack, having a lot of ball, and tactically dominating other teams. If you look at their fullback, Rob Carney, absolutely world class, and their wings as well. So the only weakness for me is their centres. Players like Robbie Henshaw getting injured now just before the World Cup. Bundy Arki, who's got talent, but he's a bit inconsistent. Doesn't have a lot of experience. So they're not settled at centre, and I think that's going to be their weakness, or maybe their biggest challenge come World Cup.
And then Barent, Ireland have a pretty easy group. I mean, they've got Japan, Scotland, Samoa, and Russia. So very, very easy group. I think they're going to be shoe-ins to finish top of that group. And then they'll probably play either South Africa or New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. That is a worrying sign, especially since Ireland are the quarter final team. As past World Cups have shown us, they struggle to get past the final 8. But yes, they definitely should top their group. Scotland could. It's once again the first game that they play on the 22nd of September. That's going to be their benchmark test for the World Cup going forward. But they should top Scotland, and Japan, Russia, and Samoa should be a time for them to find their centre pairing to try settle down the squad, while also minimising injuries and keeping the players fresh. So I think it will be a big balancing act for Joe Schmidt and co. Very motivated to get a couple of big scores to try to put that 57-15 loss against England behind them, because I think that did quite a bit to their confidence. Luckily, after that, they beat Wales twice, but they'll definitely want to start the World Cup off with a bang against Scotland.
But also, if I'm Ireland, that's like the worst blind date you could ever be set up for, is having to either play South Africa, or if South Africa beats New Zealand, you're probably going to have to play New Zealand in the quarterfinals, which I think might be a good thing. I don't know if I want New Zealand to win 3 consecutive World Cups. I don't know if that's going to be good for the sport. But back to the forwards, I think. So I'm pretty sure you got a bit of a stiffy when you saw names like Omar Houri, CJ Stander. I'm not going to say Omani. To me, if I read that, it says O Mahoney. And I don't give a shit about Irish pronunciation. Okay, otherwise, I would live there. It's Tuat.
I thought it was Dutois.
We're getting off topic now. Let's get back on topic. And Rhys Ruddock as well, not a bad player. Rory Best, probably the best hooker in the senior age group in the world at the moment. So, Henny, how crucial is that forward pack going to be?
Well, Igor, I do think that Ireland's success this last couple of years, they went through a very good spell of about 2 years. They beat the All Blacks twice. That team's success for me is built on their forwards and their 9 and 10. Obviously, they've got good wings, but their forward pack, I think, their forward pack is one of the very few forward packs, I would say, in the Northern Hemisphere that can compete with a pack like South Africa. So that's not a quarterfinal I, as a South African supporter, would like, because they play very low-risk rugby. They keep the ball for long periods of time. And I do think they actually have 2 very, very good loose forwards in CJ Stander and Omani. One of them being an ex-British and Irish Lions captain, and I do think actually Ireland's scrum and line-out is probably in the top 2 or 3 best line-outs and set pieces in the world at the moment. So yes, I do think a player like Ty Furlong, CJ Stander, Omani, they are very key players for them, because I do agree with you. They don't necessarily have the biggest amount of depth, but still, I do think that if they get someone like Australia or someone in a semi-final, I would back them. The only problem for Ireland is at the moment is they've got an easy group, but they've got the quarter-final of death. Let's be honest. If you're going to either play South Africa or New Zealand, it's going to be one of those two, and that's not a quarter-final you want. So let's wait and see what happens. They've never gone past the quarter-finals in the history before. They've never. I don't think they've ever beaten a Southern Hemisphere team in a quarterfinal before.
No, they've never beaten South Africa or New Zealand.
Yeah, in a World Cup.
So
that is a big hurdle for them to get over. One thing for Ireland that does count in their favour, they are one of few Northern Hemisphere teams that have actually beaten New Zealand. Wales have never in the history beaten New Zealand. England has beat New Zealand, I think it was 5 years ago now.
5 or 4 years
ago.
So
apart from South Africa, Ireland is actually the only other team that can say, listen, we know how to beat New Zealand. I'm not saying they're going to beat New Zealand. I would still put my house and my girlfriend and my dog and my housekeepers on the line to say New Zealand would win the game. But it is possible. It's possible.
I don't know if I'll take that bet. I don't know what I'm going to do with your blow-up doll girlfriend. But we'll get to that when we get to that in the end. But yeah, that's very true. And if you take it the other way, then South Africa and New Zealand, the one that beats the other one is probably guaranteed a semi-final place, because they're going to place either Scotland or maybe the World 15 of 5 years ago, which is Japan. So, but yeah, I think it's also very true. I think like sort of in summary, they've got a very good pack of forwards, but in key positions they are so fragile. When you look at they also don't have the best locks in the world at the moment, and if someone gets injured, you'll expect someone like John Klein, who struggled to keep a place at the Stormers open, to get on the bench. You see, I think if CJ Stander gets injured, that's a massive blow to especially their game plan of, running a forward off of every single ball imaginable in every single channel imaginable for 20 plus phases. I think that might hurt them a bit, and not like a good sort of hurt, like a
yes, definitely, Igor. But I think, injury to CJ Stander would be problematic for Ireland. But I also think Joe Schmidt is having some restless nights. Thinking about Johnny Sexton's form. I mean, player of the year last year, and he's not in the top 3 fly-offs form-wise going into this World Cup.
Yeah, that's very true. And Joey Carberry as well. And there's been calls for him to start games, but Joe Schmidt has been shown to be very inflexible in rotating his players, because Ireland played a hell of a lot of big games now recently. The entire Six Nations and the couple of tests he had against Ireland, Johnny Sexton got by far the most game time, and I think they're probably, along with South Africa, they are the most vulnerable for having a disaster when a 10 gets injured. I think if Andre Pollard also gets injured, we can pack a packet of lemons or oranges and then head home. And maybe, Joey Carberry surprises. So just finally, just before we say goodbye to our trusting fans, our supporters, where do you guys, each one of you, see Ireland? How far do you see them going in the World Cup?
Well, Igor, if you look at the world rankings, they are currently at the top. For me, I rated them 3rd favourites prior World Cup, but if you look at their quarter final, I'll put them 5th on my list of favourites for the World Cup. So yeah, that quarterfinal is gonna be huge for them, obviously. So yeah, but
would you back them to go through in the quarterfinals? Do you see Ireland playing the first semi-final?
I can't see them beating New Zealand, but I can see them beating the Springboks if they can get 50% possession and their 9 and 10 plays a tactical game and exposing our wings under the high ball.
Yeah, but
but yeah, I'll still put my money on the Springboks to pull that game through.
Imagine that low-scoring slogfest between South Africa and Ireland. I think there'll be 12 concussions and the game will be won 3-0 from a Franstein 75-meter penalty. Or 5-4, you never know. You never know. 2 conversions from 2 disallowed tries. I mean, stranger things have happened. And Christoph, for you?
Yes, I don't see them making it past the quarterfinals. I hope they surprise us. I hope they put up a good match, hopefully against the All Blacks, because they've got the experience, they've got the BMT. So anything can happen. This is a lovely World Cup. You can't write anybody off. So we'll see. But realistically, if I were a betting man, I would not put Ireland in the semi-finals or the finals for that matter.
Henny, are you going to be brave and tell us that Ireland are going to make a semi-final this year?
Igor, no. If I look back at history, Ireland find a way to lose important games at crucial stages. I do think this is their best chance of going far in a World Cup. I think this is the best team Ireland has taken to a World Cup in their history. So, but I still see them, because of their draw, I see them falling out in the quarterfinals against either South Africa or New Zealand. I do think there will be a tight game. It will be a physical game. And if I'm a South African supporter, I would not want Ireland in the World Cup, because even if we get past that, I do think that makes it very hard to be front up for a semi-final after what will be a physical battle in that quarterfinal against the Irish. But no, for quarterfinals for me, and then going back to drink some Guinness in Dublin.
Yeah, for me, I don't think Ireland are going to make it until the semi-finals, primarily because I like to think anything can happen in a World Cup quarterfinal, but I think Rassie Erasmus is tactically a lot better than Joe Schmidt, a lot more flexible, and his team is drilled in such a way that they can implement a whole range of tactics, and I think Joe Schmidt is really only capable of providing Ireland with that one slow build-up play tactic, and not much more than that. But then again, having Johnny Sexton kick on to Mapimpi's wing the whole time, and Stockdale contesting makes me shudder in my boots a bit. But yeah, for me also, I don't think they're gonna sniff the semi-final. But yeah, gents, thank you so much for joining me on this lovely Monday evening, and rugby and. Please follow us as we continue our fantastic build-up towards the start of the Rugby World Cup on Saturday. And have a good sporting weekend, rugby fans.